This is a small application that can be installed and executed into a web page, and it occupies a specific portion of a web page and does something useful.
Welcome to the Web Marketing Show, a podcast hosted by Randy Thornton. Learn how she approaches today's internet marketing challenges with straightforward, strategic web marketing guidance for businesses and industries of all sizes. Sit back, relax, and listen as Randy shares systems, tools, advice, trends, technologies, and how-tos about everything related to productive web marketing. Because time does matter, let's get started. Here's Randy.
Welcome to the Web Marketing Show, podcast number 9, titled, How Much Does a Website Cost? I'm Randy Thornton, your host, and I'm so glad you are here. I started this podcast venture with one goal in mind, and that is to educate an audience, people who care about their online marketing performance, people who depend upon improving their web marketing outcomes for their businesses, organizations, or personal ventures. My ongoing objective is to provide one valuable takeaway each episode, an action that you can do that will have a positive impact on your business's profits, which are derived directly from your online marketing efforts. Whether that be an SEO tactic used to gain better search rankings, a tip to expand your online brand awareness, or how to generate digital media such as infographics or videos to reach and engage with your target audience online. Today's topic is an important web marketing subject. First, because it's the first question most people ask me when they inquire about building a website after learning about WordPress Website Builder Bundle or RealWits or Dental Business Builder, which are all websites or examples of websites that I've developed in order to gain online exposure about my web development services. Secondly, without understanding basic website features and functionality differences, aspects that ultimately dictate how much a website costs, you do not have enough information to make an educated decision about what you should pay for a website today. And honestly, when asked about website costs, this is perhaps the number one reason some have chosen to go elsewhere and use another service provider. So my goal today is to educate anyone listening that wants to dive deeper into what it costs to build a website, what goes on behind the scenes, what actions and steps are taken that produce a fully functioning website. But first, today's podcast is sponsored by none other than WPWBB.com, which is short for WordPress Website Builder Bundle, a website I developed that bundles and combines all the tools and systems necessary to build a robust website. Okay, on to the show. But let's back up a second. Yes, we're going to talk about how much it costs to build a website. But first, let's review why this topic really matters. We all know web marketing is done to get found online when somebody's searching for our services or products. Web marketing is done to generate awareness, leads, and sales. And today, web marketing encompasses a variety of best practices and is not limited to just search engine optimization as it was back in 2000 when I had my first website built and did web marketing to boost my company profits. You've probably heard me say this before, but because it's so important, I want to say it again. Your website is your web marketing foundation. Web marketing all begins with your website. The after effects of your web marketing results can usually be directly related to how solid of a foundation your website was built on. So, if your website is so important, logically the next question is, how much does a website cost? And here's the answer. Unfortunately, it depends. You couldn't ask the question, how much does a car cost, and expect one single answer. It depends. It depends on the material, the labor, the burden costs, such as research and development, administrative costs, etc. It depends on all these factors that it took to build the car. And these factors influence a car's performance, its resale value, and an overall enjoyment factor. These factors are also reflective in the cost of the car. I thought that was a good illustration. So, back to the question, how much does a website cost? While cost structures can vary between website development providers, there are two basic different costs involved. One is one-time or upfront cost, and then you have, secondly, ongoing costs. So first up, let's dive right into one-time website cost. And this is the cost I'm referring to when you actually have the website built. It's during this build-out phase that I'm referring to as the one-time cost. You're going to pay money and you're going to receive a website. And during this phase, the time, knowledge, and sophistication behind the concept and overall appeal and website functionality is researched and implemented. So the first part of this phase during the one-time website cost phase is web design. Web design is the overall look and feel. It's who's going to determine it, and how is the overall look and feel determined. What about the layout? While these may not seem like complicated questions, the design of a website impacts the visitor's experience through its usability, and it can make the difference between, let's say, like a 10% sales gain or even a 50% sales gain. It reflects how your business is perceived, and it sets the tone for what can be expected. Everything from color schemes to deciding if you should place a call to action button on the left side or the right side of a page impacts your website's ability to convert those web visitors into customers. Additional key elements include site navigation structure, content placement, and its overall ease of use. While researching dentists upon moving into the town I currently reside in and doing my research online, the design, meaning the layout or the overall look and feel of each dental website I viewed, was an incredibly influencing factor that determined which dental office I chose and I still go to today. Designs varied from warm and welcoming with a professional flair to those that were cluttered and appeared to be unkept. And some were even hard to navigate. Now, because I'm terribly frightened of going to the dentist, I wanted to feel like the office I chose cared about their patients, and it was important I read something that spoke to my fears, as well as the website just had to make me feel comfortable with them before I even met them. Experience, research, and knowledge play a significant role in web design effectiveness. So web design is one of the main components involved in a website build-out process and is part of that one-time website cost. In addition to design, the next portion of the one-time website build-out cost needs to involve functionality. If you're a restaurant owner, do you need to simply display your menu online? Or do you want to provide visitors with a way to place an order online? If you're a real estate company, do you want to list properties for sale? Or do you want to display them in an interactive map that highlights the home's distance from neighborhood amenities such as such as restaurants or shopping? Other critical functionality dynamics that need to be taken into consideration when we're talking about cost, well, some of these are a little techy. They include things such as how the website is coded. If a website uses Flash, for instance, it will not be viewable on many mobile devices. How a website is coded determines if it is easily accessible by Google and other search engines, or if it makes it difficult for Google to crawl web pages and index and rank your website. Does it meet W3C standards, which validates properly implemented code markups? The World Wide Web Consortium is the main international standards organization for the World Wide Web and has developed protocols and guidelines that ensure the long-term growth of the web. And the nice thing is they offer numerous online validators and debugging tools. So in other words, this is the techie kind of part of having a website built, but it's also a very important part of making sure that your website is built in a fashion that is compliant. They offer several different tools that will validate websites, and I use these tools on a regular basis when I'm validating websites. I'll have a link in the show notes located at webmarketingshow.com/9. So you can get access to these links and you can test your entire website and validate if it is indeed W3C compliant and uses open standards best practices. So you can quickly identify any portions of your website that need correction. Once again, I will have links to 2 different sites that I use on a regular basis for validation purposes. The third equation of the one-time cost to build a website is SEO. I'm not going to go into all the specifics and outline every aspect of what parts of building a website contribute to SEO because that would take quite a while. But I do want you to know that how a website is built will determine how SEO friendly it is. And trust me, a website that is not built using SEO best practices will not prosper online as well as one that considered SEO while being constructed. I mentioned how SEO friendly a website happens during the building process because history's shown me that website designers, while could be really great with graphics and designing websites, they're not always diverse with SEO best practices. So understanding how much of SEO is going to be built into a website should also be a consideration when thinking about the one-time cost of building that website. Last on the one-time cost list is mobile device accessibility. Not much to say about this. I think it's pretty obvious today. The percentage of website traffic from mobile devices is extraordinarily high and continues to rapidly rise. View your web analytics to find out what percentage of your traffic is from people using a mobile device. Today, it's imperative that a website is built mobile friendly, and this is not an afterthought, but fully considered and is included as part of the cost of building a website. So those are the 4 major components that you need to consider when talking about the one-time costs associated with building a website. The website design needs to be an important consideration. The functionality of the website. Is the website going to be built using SEO best practices? And how is it going to look on a mobile device? Is it mobile friendly? So how much should you pay for a website to be built? How much should this one-time cost be? I can't answer that question for you. but because it would be almost impossible to get the same exact design and outcomes from two different website development providers, it is as important to focus on cost as it is to put as much emphasis on the results. It's all subjective. I think you should pay what is necessary to get a website that accomplishes your business goals. Second up is ongoing website cost, the maintenance and monthly costs associated with being a website owner. Okay, now you have a perfectly built website, you paid the developer, and you're home free, right? Well, not so fast. As I mentioned, we are now going to talk about ongoing website costs, which are normally paid monthly. And first up under the ongoing monthly website cost is hosting. Last episode was devoted to web hosting and the differences between hosting providers. So I won't go into details here, and so I won't go into full details now. If you missed that podcast episode, go to webmarketingshow.com/8. I go through and talk a lot about the differences between web hosting companies. What you do need to know is that every website must be hosted somewhere. And hosting services vary in cost too. Hosting plans can range from a few dollars a month to thousands of dollars a month. While most will never need to pay thousands of dollars to get great hosting, the cost you do pay is reflected in how much content your website can have, because the amount of content takes up storage, and also it impacts how fast your website loads and how often your website goes down. In addition to hosting, a monthly ongoing charge could include updating. A website cannot be a set it and forget it business asset. New technologies are rapidly being deployed, and keeping up with them is important for several reasons. First, your user experience. Think about a website that hasn't been updated in a year or two. The user experience is going to vary greatly between that and a website that's been recently updated. By updating a website, you're keeping it modern and you're keeping it current, which all of this reflects back on your brand awareness and the perception or the vibe that a visitor is going to get when they visit your website. Are you a modern and current company, or do you lack in this area, which could be the first time that they're getting to know you as a company? Another really important reason that a website should be updated on a regular basis is for security reasons. We hear it on the news all the time. Even the big guys that have real good security or supposedly really good security get hacked and are vulnerable to people getting information and getting inside the website and getting private information that should be secured. So updating is very critical for security as well as the user experience and just keeping your website modern and current and up to date. I build websites using WordPress, and WordPress has a minimum of 2 updates every year. In addition to WordPress pushing out new updates, the plugins that are used on these websites need to be updated to continue to function with WordPress's updates. 90% of the websites I've developed and maintain have about 2 to 4 updates that I manually do and conduct each and every month. I manually do these updates and then check to make sure everything went well. On occasion, things go bad, but that doesn't happen too frequently. We looked at web hosting and regular updating, and the last I want to discuss regarding ongoing web maintenance cost is just overall maintenance. An overall maintenance plan that ensures your website is functioning and is up to date on a regular basis. Throughout the month, there are tasks that are going to arise to making sure a website remains current, such as maybe adding an event to an event calendar, or adding the bio and picture of a new employee, or adding some promotional content about a special event or offering. Other ongoing or monthly maintenance tasks include things such as backups. Is your website backed up on a regular basis? And not only backed up once and in one location, but perhaps two. What happens if the worst speakable thing happens and your website goes down, or something happens with your hosting provider? You want to make sure that you have backups and recent backups of your website in different locations so that you can get it back up and running as quickly as possible if there was a catastrophic situation. What about broken links? It's imperative that broken links are checked upon and corrected. These things just happen. The overall integrity checks that are done in a regular website maintenance plan, they prevent small issues from turning into larger ones. Back to the car example to illustrate what I mean. After a car is purchased, to keep it running properly, it needs regular oil changes and other recommended tune-ups at different mileage intervals. Similar ongoing website maintenance tasks ensure that your website continues to run properly. For ongoing website maintenance cost, we talked about hosting, we talked about keeping it updated, and we talked about an overall maintenance plan. So, how much should you pay for ongoing website costs? Well, hosting is an unavoidable cost. Hosting is required to have a website appear on the World Wide Web. Paying for updating and maintenance tasks could be considered optional. However, things break, websites get hacked, and technologies evolve. If web marketing is important at all, then ongoing updating and maintenance is essential. You can do it yourself or hire a professional to take care of these ongoing tasks. We just discussed one-time website costs and then the ongoing costs associated with owning a website. And the question is, back to the question, how much does a website cost? It depends. I've covered some of the major considerations, and I wish there was a magical answer. It would actually make my job a lot easier. I hope by understanding more about what is involved in the process will help you make more informed decisions. It's not always about price. Next time you're shopping for a website developer or website developer services, I encourage you to contemplate the overall website design expertise the service provider offers, the functionality and capabilities it will have, how much SEO is incorporated into the build-out, how it will look and perform on a variety of mobile devices. What kind of hosting plan does it have? Does it meet your website's demands? And does the service provider include regular updates and ongoing maintenance? We've covered a lot, and because time matters, I encourage you to visit webmarketingshow.com to get the links to the 2 free compliance and debugging checkers. Visit these websites, enter in your URL or your website address, and learn if your website was built on a solid foundation. It is often what's not visible that matters the most. Also in the show notes at webmarketingshow.com/9 is a link to WPWBB.com, or you can simply visit WPWB.com. This is a website owned and developed by me and provides website development services. I've got a question for you. How much did you pay for your last website? Were you satisfied with the results? I want to hear about your experiences. Please visit webmarketingshow.com/9 and leave comments in the section below the show notes. I want to hear what you've paid for web hosting, web services, web design in the past. Was it all bundled together? Was it separate? Do you pay monthly? What kind of plan are you on? Next Web Marketing Show podcast episode is all about domain names. Domain names are the address to your website. But there's so much more to know about domain names. Every website owner must know. Are you protected? Stay tuned for next episode to find out. So, did you guess what the Web Marketing Show episode word was? I said it's a small application that can be installed and executed within a web page, and it occupies a specific portion of a page and does something useful. The word is widget. Have you heard of a widget before? A widget is what is placed in a widget area of a website, and widgets can display virtually any type of content. Popular widgets used today include calendars or login or sign up forms or even slideshows or links to deeper web content, calls to action, social media icons, contact info, interactive maps with driving directions to your office, or even advertisement. A widget can virtually contain any type of content. Widgets should also add value to the visitor, and they should not be distracting. Widgets can visually enhance a website, and widgets can be fun or goofy. The possibilities are endless. If you go to webmarketingshow.com on my site, you'll see on the right-hand side, I have several widgets. I have a don't miss an episode widget. I've got a email sign-up form. I've got a picture that leads to an upcoming episode calendar for people to view upcoming episode topics. I've got a list of the most recent shows. I've got a search box. So if you're searching for a particular word or want to quickly find something on the website, you can do that through the search box. I've also got a YouTube podcast player, which is embedded in the website. And these are all types of widgets. Those widgets can all be found on the right-hand side of the website once you bypass the homepage. And actually, the theme that I chose for this website has numerous widget areas. In fact, the homepage is primarily made up of widgets, which is one of the reasons I just love this theme, and I've used it on many websites. It's flexible because I have the ability to virtually control the look and the feel by putting widgets in sections and areas where I want the information to be. I really have unlimited customization possibilities. For instance, I wanted a prominently placed visual element, and I also wanted a prominently placed sign-up form to make it easy for visitors to get email alerts when a new podcast is published. Well, I used widget areas to place these elements exactly where I wanted them, and I wasn't restricted to placing them or like my form underneath a slider, etc. This is one of my favorite themes that I've used in many website developments, and you can make the websites, you wouldn't even know that they were the same because they are so customizable. Thanks again for listening. I'm so excited you're here. If you have comments, if you have a specific topic you'd like me to talk about, if you have a question you'd like me to answer, you can go to webmarketingshow.com, leave your comments, leave your questions. I'm really looking forward to answering them. Until next time.
This concludes this episode of the Web Marketing Show. If you need help or have questions or comments for Randy, please visit www.webmarketingshow.com. Be sure to listen to her next podcast show so you stay current with everything related to effective web marketing. And remember to take action today, because every day that slips by without taking action is one day further away from becoming a winning day.